The nicotine patch. Our learning objectives are for you to be able to describe the properties of the nicotine patch, including their advantages and disadvantages. Describe the availability of and coverage for the patch in the United States. Explain the standard and alternative dosing recommendations. Describe appropriate patch use and list common side effects with their mitigating strategies. The nicotine patch. It's the simplest form of nicotine replacement therapy for people to use, and it provides the most continuous nicotine delivery of all the nicotine replacement therapy products. Once the patch is applied, it takes between half an hour and 3 hours to reach peak levels in the plasma, and the effect of the patch lasts over 24 hours and has a constant withdrawal relief. So the biggest advantage of the patch is it's easy to use. And the biggest disadvantage of the patch is that when smokers have an urge to smoke, they can't adjust the dose of the patch. It's at a constant level. The patch is available over the counter in the United States, and a recent search on Amazon.com priced them at about $1 each. The name brand products like Nicoderm were significantly more expensive, about $3 each. Coverage for smoking cessation interventions is required according to the Affordable Care Act for all Medicaid insurance plans. However, states are left to decide what coverage actually means, and the patch is covered in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Important caveats are that in South Dakota, only pregnant women can get the patch covered by their Medicaid, and these four states, these four areas, DC and then Florida, Utah, and Washington, the coverage may vary by the health plan. The standard dosing of the patch is determined by the number of cigarettes a person smokes per day. 10 or more cigarettes, or more than 10 cigarettes, or half a pack, they start on the highest dose, which is 21 milligrams, for 6 weeks, and then they step down to the medium dose for 2 weeks, and then the low dose for 2 weeks, and then they stop. For those who smoke less than or equal to 10 cigarettes, or who weigh less than 100 pounds, regardless of how much they smoke, are advised to begin with the medium dose, 14 milligram patch per day for 6 weeks, and then 7 milligrams per day for 2 weeks. There is evidence that the patch could be more effective if it's used beyond this 8 to 10 week period. Specifically, 24 weeks seems to be the most effective duration of patch use. One study compared 8 weeks to 24 weeks and found higher quit rates with extended therapy, odds ratio of 1.81, with a 95% confidence interval of 1.23 to 2.66, meaning that if you use the patch for 24 weeks versus 8, you almost double your chances of quitting. And the 95% confidence interval doesn't cross 1, so it's significant. And it's defined as how likely this is to be occurring by chance, or is it actually believable? So this says that there's a 95% chance that you really will double your rate, and it's not just a statistical anomaly. Another study compared 8 weeks to 24 weeks to a year and found that 24 weeks was more effective than 8 weeks. Again, we're approaching that odds ratio of 2. And but when you compare 24 to 52 weeks, there was no difference. So an additional 6 months didn't really change the outcomes. The conclusion from these studies is that there's a growing body of evidence that 6 months of the patch might be the most effective duration. How to use the patch. It's applied each morning on any non-hairy skin site, and it's removed the next day and replaced with another patch. Side effects and prevention strategies. The most common side effect is skin irritation, and this can be prevented by rotating the patch site daily. Insomnia and vivid dreams can occur with when people wear the patch at night, and a prevention strategy is to remove the patch at bedtime, replace putting on the new patch the next day. The smoking cessation rates have been shown to be similar whether you use the patch for 24 hours or take it off at night. And finally, people who do opt for the strategy of taking the patch off at night can experience morning cravings because they haven't had the patch on all night. And a prevention strategy is to use a short-acting form of nicotine replacement therapy like the gum or the lozenge while waiting for the patch to take effect.